Today I'm going to do a video on installing a doorknob, and I'm just going to quickly remove the old one. This one here, the insides of it are worn. I've tried tightening things up and it hasn't worked. So to remove the old doorknob, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to have a couple of screws in the striker part here. Phillips head in this case. Just take those out. And just something to take note of while you're doing this, in case you're installing a new one, but even if it's an existing one, the grooved part, the angled part of the latch is going to go towards the striker in the door casing. So if we look over there, there's the door casing. So this door closes that way. And we want this angled part here hitting on the striker over in the door casing. So we've taken those two screws out, and now if we look at this side of the doorknob, there are no screws there, so it's going to be on the other side. And here, from a different vantage point, we can see that there are the two screws here. So I'm just going to hold this in place, because this is, as I say, this door handle is really worn and loose. And it's not staying tight, so in this case, there are two Phillips head screws on either side of the doorknob. Take those out. I'm just holding the doorknob flat against the door as I remove the screws. A little easier to take them out when you kind of try to keep things in place a bit there. Just gonna thread this one out here. And they tend to be fairly long because they got to go through the width of the door, or close to the width of the door. That one is still actually threaded in, so we'll just take out some more. And it'll just come apart like that. I gotta take those out a bit more again. As I say, they're pretty long screws. So just loosen one off. Go to the other side, loosen that off a bit. Kind of back and forth like that. And that's what we have there. Now, doorknob on the other side should just pull out. We see that come through. And that's what we had there. And now our latch, I have to wiggle that around a bit. That's probably not going to push right out. So I'm going to take a flat-handled screwdriver as soon as I find what I did with it. And I'm just going to pry on there, get that out. Let's go try pushing that latch there, that way. Pops out, and there's our old doorknob removed. So these pre-drilled doors like this usually have a standard length of the latch. So this latch here has two settings. So if I push it in, let's see if I can hold it and do this like that, that's one setting, or just pull it out, and that's the other longer setting. So just to get a rough idea which one it is, if I put it in the door, this hole here should line up roughly with the middle of the hole, because that's where the part of the doorknob is going to go through. So that looks like it's in the middle there. just for kicks, if I try the other setting and then pop it in there just to get an idea, we can see that's not falling towards the middle of the door. So if you happen to have a latch like this, that's a quick way to find out which setting you want to use, and in our case we want the longer setting which lines up that hole in the center of the hole in the door. So like any other piece of equipment, there's all sorts of different variables as far as these door kits go, but this one here is fairly standard. And in the case of this style, what you do is you take the latch, and this is the part that we're going to put in the side of the door here that'll line up with the striker, and we're just going to see if we can get this on camera here, put the latch through like this. You can see that lines up really good in there, and then that's going to go into the door like that, and we want this piece here to be flat with the door. Now I'm just going to take a little piece of wood and just try tapping that into place. If it doesn't go in, I'm going to take my knife like so and just cut a little bit along there just to widen it up. I think it's a little bit bigger than the old one, but it's almost the right size. So we're just going to see if I lay my wood flat and just give it some light taps, because I don't want to damage anything here. I'll move that so I can get it on the camera, hopefully. Let's see if we can get that on there. Okay, that seemed to have set into place up above. Now I can take my Phillips screws, screw that into place. And something to take note of at this point is if you have a door, as I do here, with a lock on it, you're going to want to make sure that you put the lock on the proper side. This is a bathroom door and it closes that way. So obviously we're going to want to be able to lock the door from inside the bathroom. Would make a whole lot of sense the other way. So the piece with the lock on it, we're going to want on this side of the door, and the other piece on the opposite side of the door. So I'm going to take the part of the doorknob with no lock and have it on that side of the door, and the side of the doorknob with the lock on this side. So here's our doorknob with the two long metal pieces on it that our screws are going to thread into. I'm going to take that, hopefully this will come out on the camera alright, go to the opposite side of the door, hopefully you can see that over there. This hole here is what this part of the doorknob is going to go through, and these other two holes, this one and this one, are going to line up with this piece and this piece for our screws to thread into. So going over on the other side of the door, we're going through the centerpiece here. I can turn that to see that, and as I say, let's see if I can zoom in there. You can see if I turn that doorknob on the other side, there's our two pieces here that have just gone through that our screws are going to thread into. So in other words, on this part of the doorknob, this hole here and that hole there are going to have screws that are going to go through and thread into this piece and this piece. So I'm going to hold that doorknob from the other side. I'm going to take this part. As we said, I'm on the inside of the washroom here, so this is where we want our lock to be. And I'm going to line up our two holes, those ones, with these holes in the doorknob. And I'm going to slide that hole into our centerpiece right there. So, like that. Or, looking at it from this angle, like that. So now I'm going to take the doorknob, again lining up the hole in the doorknob with our metal piece that comes through the door. I'm going to hold this in place with my hand here, line that up. I'm not going to have to really tighten it up because I'm trying to line this hole here and our screw that's going to go into it. I kind of keep this doorknob out a bit as I put the screw through here. And when I look from up above here at the piece that screw is going to thread into. I might have to change my angle here a bit. So I'm holding the doorknob in place from this side, taking the screw, and you can see where I'm holding that piece of the doorknob on the inside of the bathroom out a bit, so I can actually see the hole that this screw is going to have to line up with. Once I get these threaded into place approximately here, to keep everything together. So that's in now. If I pull that screw out, it's not coming. So I know I got that one in spot, or in the proper place. Now I'm going to go to the hole over here on the opposite side, doing the same thing. Keeping this out so I can line things up, push that screw, hold the door from over on this side, and I can see that I have the screw lined up with its hole in the latching system there. Turning that. Now they're both in place. If I try to pull it out, it doesn't come out. Before I go any further with this, now that I got that approximately in place, I want to make sure that this is flat with the front of the door here. I'm going to take that, in this case, it's out a little bit. I'm just going to make sure, I want to make sure that it's in there good. Little light tap there. Just placing it over. Make sure it's all good and flat there. And now I'm going to tighten this up because that's where we want everything to be. It's all lined up. Tighten it a little on the top, a little on the bottom. Now I can go over, hold that side of the doorknob tight. I'll hold this side with my thumb and tighten that screw into the door. Go to the other side, tighten it up a bit. It's always a good habit with pretty much anything that you go to do as far as tightening a screw or a bolt, a nut, whatever to do. If there's two of them, do one side, then do the other side equally. It's gonna keep going back and forth like that. that just hit the end point of its thread. I can feel that, so I'll go over here, tighten this side up, and back to here. We don't have to get too ridiculous with this, it's only a doorknob. That's good and tight there now. Turn the knob, it works. And the big test at the end. Does it work? Does it close? It does. It catches good. Opens easily. And that's the end of this video.